Dear friends, again welcome to English Home. Sorry for being late. Let's see the questions and answers in the passage Making a Shower. Children, please care one thing. Firstly, you must read the paragraph Making a Shower and then you read the questions in the text and try to answer it. You must write down in your notebook also. After that, you check the answers in the video. Got it? ഒന്നുകൂടെ പറയാം. നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് പാരഗ്രാഫ് നന്നായി വായിക്കുക. അതിനുശേഷം നൽകിയിരിക്കുന്ന ടെക്സ്റ്റൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വായിച്ച് ആൻസർ സ്വയം കണ്ടെത്തി നിങ്ങളുടെ നോട്ടിൽ എഴുതൂ. അതിനുശേഷമേ വീഡിയോയിലെ ടീച്ചർ നൽകിയ ആൻസേഴ്സ് നോക്കാവൂ. അങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കണം നിങ്ങളുടെ പഠനം മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകേണ്ടത്. ഓക്കേ. Textual questions and answers. First one, who do you like to play at home? Answer, with my younger sister, or with my grandpa, or with my grandma, etc. Number 2, what was the reaction of grandfather when he was soaked in the shower? Answer, grandfather turned to Raja with an angry look. Next one, why did Raja select the loft in the cowshed as his hiding place? Answer, because Raja liked to hide in a place closer to his house. Next question, grandmother was extremely worried when he knew that Raja was missing. Pick out the sentences from the passage which convey this idea. Answer, when I did not turn up, she looked for me everywhere in the house. Then she came out and called aloud for me, thinking that I was somewhere in the garden. Now let's read the next part of the story. The news spreads. Then grandfather stood up and went outside and called aloud, "Come, Raja, come, I won't beat you." But I did not answer him, for I thought that he would beat me. Grandmother was angry and said, "He won't come. You drove him away. I heard you say that you would beat him if he came home. Poor child, he is afraid of you and has run away." Grandfather called the servants and asked them to go out and look for me. They went out, but after a while returned to say that they could not find me. Grandmother started weeping. Grandfather started walking up and down the courtyard. The news that I was missing spread. Our neighbors came first, then our relatives, and then others who had heard the bad news. Many came to offer their sympathies to grandmother. Grandfather did not like this. He shouted, "Nothing has happened to the boy. He is hiding somewhere. Can't some of you go out and find him instead of wasting your time here?" Some of them went out to search for me. More and more people came and soon there was a big crowd. By now grandmother had lost all hope of seeing me again. She started telling the people what a good boy I was. The search parties returned without finding me. Grandmother started weeping loudly. The women in the crowd also wept. The servants of the house joined in the wailing. They all acted as if I were dead. I felt very sorry for grandmother. I wanted to come out. Grandfather was a man of strong will, but I knew that he too felt very sad. He did not, however, lose hope. He stood up, turned in the direction of our family temple and prayed. "Help me, God," he said. Give me my child. I want him now. I cannot wait any longer. He then stood silent in prayer. At that moment, Uncle returned. He learned what was happening at home. He looked around and guessed where I was. He came to the cowshed and asked me to come down. I came down. Uncle took me into the house. Grandfather had just finished his prayer and turned. As he opened his eyes, he saw me standing before him. He took me up in his arms in joy, hugged me and said, God heard my prayers and has given you back to us. Now children, there are 5 textual questions for you. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞത് ആവർത്തിക്കുന്നു. Firstly, you answer yourselves and write down. Then see these answers. Okay? Textual questions and answers. Number 1. Grandmother felt angry with grandfather. Do you support the grandmother? Why? Answer. Grandfather was very angry when the boy shook the sandalwood tree. There was a heavy shower and both of them soaked. Raja ran towards the paddy fields and hid there. Grandfather shouted that he would teach him a lesson when he reached his home. Grandmother believed that the boy frightened and go away from there. Children, now discuss this with your own point of view. Okay? Second question. Why did grandfather lose his temper? Answer. The news about the missing of Raja spreads everywhere. Relatives and others made this a big issue. That is why grandfather lost his temper. Next question. Where might be people have searched for Raja? Why couldn't they find him? Answer. The people searched Raja in the fields, bushes, and neighbors' houses, etc. He was hiding on the loft of the cowshed of his house, so they couldn't find him. Question. I wanted to come out. What prevented Raja from coming out? Answer. The fear of being beaten by grandfather prevented Raja from coming out. Last question. What would Raja say to his grandfather when he returned home? Answer. Raja would say sorry to grandfather when he returned to home. Children, let's see the following words. Stand up, stood up, standing up. Go, went, going. Say, said, saying. Run, ran, running. Miss, missed, missing. Find, found, finding. Look at these words. These words describe the actions, so they are called verbs. You can find out the more verbs in the paragraph and write down like this. You can find the meaning also and understand the change of meaning of each words. Okay friends, don't forget your homeworks. കുറച്ച് ഫ്രണ്ട്സ് ആവശ്യപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് ടെക്സ്റ്റിലെ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് പറഞ്ഞു തരാൻ വേണ്ടി. അടുത്ത വീഡിയോയിൽ തീർച്ചയായും പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ടീച്ചറുടെ ക്ലാസ് ഇഷ്ടാവുന്നുണ്ടോ? അഭിപ്രായങ്ങൾ കമൻറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ രേഖപ്പെടുത്തണേ. നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂട്ടുകാർക്ക് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാനും മറക്കരുത്. സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാനും മറക്കരുതേ. ഓക്കെ, ബൈ ബൈ.